this is Git, and Git is actually a piece of software running in the background. GUIs like this GitHub desktop thing, they utilize this software and they've just made it work in a nice visual way that makes it a bit more accessible for people and not as confusing. You can actually run Git through your terminal or your Windows terminal or your Windows window like this. This is my Windows terminal on my Mac. So if I click on reference, right, here we go, Git setup. There you go. You see there's hundreds and hundreds of commands. This is why I would recommend actually using Git through your terminal. You know, it's really hard making these videos. You've got to work out what you want to say, and then you've got to look at it and edit it and make sure it all makes sense. But anyway, here we are back in Git. So everything that we've just done in this, you can also do in your terminal window too. So for example, now it's different on Windows, I know, so you just have to bear with me, but there's similar commands. In your terminal window, you have to go to your, I'm inside of my folder in my terminal window. So if I write git status, what it will show me is everything that's changed in my repository, or everything that I need to commit. Nothing's changed. So let's make a change. Sometimes I hate Visual Studio. It just slows things down, and I much prefer using a text editor. I'm now going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a git status, and you can see now that I've actually changed some things here. I don't know what this is about. This has got something to do with Visual Studio or some change in here, but this is the thing that we changed, and it says we modified our game handler. So what we need to do now is we need to commit it locally. The GUI's also just picked up on the change as well, by the way. That's interesting. It knows what we've changed as well. There's these other files and this one that we've just changed. If I click on this in our GUI, you can actually see what change you've made here. You can see that we've changed from here, the red, from this, we've changed it to this. In our terminal window, we can also, in the terminal, you actually need to do two extra things. One, you have to do something called you want to say git add dot. Now what that's done is, that's gone through that whole folder that we're in, and it's found all the different things we've changed, and it's done what's called staging. So the git add dot stages all the changes. It puts them into a state where these are the things that we're going to commit. And if I do a git status on that now, you can see that it's now taken all these red things that are not staged, they have not been added, and it's put them into a staging version, and so it's made them green, so they're ready to commit. And then what we do is we do a git commit, then you have to do something called -m. It's all written on that GitHub page, and then in quotation marks you put the comment or the description that you add down here, and we're going to say I changed. And I do that. Now it's committed our code locally onto our machine. If I come back to here, you should see that our GUI has changed. It's no longer got the files to commit because we've already committed them in our terminal window. But we're just doing it here so you can see what would have gone on. Now the next thing we do here is we push those changes to our remote. So all I do is I write git push. And if we come back here, you can see that there's nothing to push here because we've done it in our terminal window. So that's actually what's going on behind the scenes when we're pushing all these buttons. And it's really important to know about that because you might need to do something manually, and you know it's not good to have magic things going on that you don't understand. The next thing you need to do is branching. So if you write git branch, it shows that we've got two branches and that we're on the one coloured in green with a star next to it, code for demonstrations, exactly like up here. If I change the branch here in my GUI, right, if I did that here and I did another git branch here, you can see we've changed it here. And what we're actually doing when we're doing this is we're doing something called a git checkout. So I can actually change it in the terminal. I can write git checkout code for demonstrations, git branch. Now we're on this branch. Also, if I go back to here, it's changed it here. So you can see the commands I'm writing here are just the same as what's going on in here. And also when you want to create a new branch here, and then up here, you'll be able to see that we've got another branch. At the moment, this branch is only local. So that's the very basics of Git. And one more thing that I wanted to show you was if I wanted to clone a directory. And one of the other students who I'm basically doing this video for has created a project here, and I'm going to clone his directory. I'm going to copy the URL here. Now, I've got two ways I can do this. GitHub Desktop File, Clone Repository. Now, I put the name of the repository in here, and then I put a place that I want to put it. I'm going to put it here. Now I'm cloning, I'm copying his repository from the server onto my machine, and it's going to be in this local directory. And one more thing, you can also just download the zip from here. That's fine. But if I do that, the problem there is that all I've done is I've downloaded it. Whereas if I do something called cloning, which is through here and I'm cloning it, then my local repository is connected to the remote one. So I'm able to add changes locally and then push it up to the remote. So they're connected. Whereas if I just downloaded it, I just wouldn't have been able to add in any of the local changes. Yeah, cloning also works for anything else you find on here that's public. Anyone's project that you see that you want to copy, you can also clone it, and you can also contribute as well. So just talking about contributing to repositories, so you can see here on his repository, he's got one direct contributor. So I sent him my username, and then he's gone here and he's added me into the project. So if I wanted to add him, I go back to my project, I click on settings, I go to manage access, and I invite a collaborator. And now I'm going to add him to Fruit Ninja Demo. Now he will get a notification in his inbox up here, and he needs to accept that. So there you go. That's how Git works. You have your GUI, which can do things very easily for you, and then you have your terminal. And the terminal is useful because it just helps you understand what's going on underneath the hood. And it's always good to understand things like that. It's never good to just do things and not really understand how it actually works, because there may become a time where you need to do that. You've also understood branching and the importance of that, and you also understood how to add contributors. And remember, every single little change you make in your project, or say every half an hour, commit your code at least locally and push it. And if you do that, then that gives you a whole version history. And on the topic of that, I might just show you that quickly here. So if we go back to our GUI and I type on history, and I can see he's done 2 commits 6 days ago. Initial commit, and then he's done an update. And then if I switch back to my Fruit Ninja one, I look at my history, I can see the 3 commits that I've committed. One 33 minutes ago, 22 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago. Now say there was something that I'd done half an hour ago that I wanted to look at because I'd broken the code here. If you go back to a previous commit, like the one I did 35 minutes ago, I should be able to right click on it and revert to it. And then you can go back and you can see the things you've made there.